I would be totally remiss if I wasn't going to talk to you about Mark and Hulda Buntain. Now, Mark started off in CBC radio, and he did an incredible thing, so much that when television was invented, they asked him to be the newscast for CBC across Canada on television. And what he did was he came in CBC, said, no, Hulda and I are going to Calcutta, India, to be a missionary. Now, can you imagine? He was #1 radio newscaster in Canada, and they were going to let him be the first anchor on the television newscast for CBC. And he comes walking and says, hi, I'm going to Calcutta, India to be a missionary. They were just blown away. But see, Mark and Hulda Buntain, what they did was they followed God. They had little Bonnie, she was 8 months old. They got on a boat in New York City and they headed across the seas and then took a bunch of trains, boats, stuff like this, finally got to Calcutta, India. You have to remember, this wasn't the days when you could just jump on an airplane, be there in 10, 12 hours. This was like weeks. And Calcutta, India was 41 Celsius, which is around 110, 120 Fahrenheit. And the humidity is always in the 90s. And there they were without air conditioning or anything in a city that had no Christianity at all. And they started leading people to Christ. Now, here's the craziest thing. They just trusted God. And they built churches, they built a hospital, they built schools, they feeding program, they built a school for nurses. Incredible what they did. And the reason I tell you this is when I was 5 years old, I met Mark Buntain, and of course Hulda, she just passed away. She and I were good friends. But Mark Buntain showed me a man who could have been incredibly famous in Canada, gave it all up to go to Calcutta, India, to be a Holy Spirit minister. And here's his key. He trusted God. He didn't put his schedule in front of God's schedule. He didn't put his, in front of God's. God was first. Hey, do you trust God? Don't tell me you trust God. Let's see it. Mark Buntain, Hulda Buntain, both of them. I mean, she died at 96 and she retired at 95 when she preaching. And her whole life was just trust God. Do you trust God? Well, here's the key. Let the Holy Spirit work with you and you work with the Holy Spirit. Trust God. Have a great week.